In this video, we're going to talk about the Canon R5 announcement. We're going to talk about what we know, we're going to talk about what we don't know, and we're going to talk about what I think it all means and what it means to the competition. What is Canon going to take over the world? Let's find out. Yeah! Greetings, fellow human. I hope you're having a fantastic-rifical day. My name is Barron. Let's talk about the Canon R5. So last week, Canon announced the development of the R5. Well, it was last week at the time of this video. But if you're watching this in the future, then it would have been longer than last week, and the camera might already be out, so having to know about the announcement of the development would be superfluous. And time travel is weird. Now, I am definitely not the first person to make a video about the Canon R5 announcement, so there are only two reasons why you would actually be watching this video right now. The first one is that you just like me, and you're like, hey, he made a video, I'm gonna watch that video. And if you're one of those people, then thanks, man. Hey, how's it going? You're pretty cool too. Right on. And the second reason that you'd be watching this video is that you're like me, and you're hoping that, you know, this guy's got more information than everyone else, and, you know, because you haven't gotten enough information, you need more, we're searching for more information. Well, unfortunately, I don't have any new information, but I do have thoughts that I'm going to share with you, and you can take the thoughts that I share and you can add them to your own thoughts. Then you can take your thoughts and my thoughts, and then they will fit together, and they will form a giant robot that will save the Earth from giant space monsters. That was a Voltron reference. 10 points if you have any idea what Voltron is. Okay, so let's start with what we know. This is exactly what Canon actually said in their announcement, so we know that it is a full-frame camera. Duh. We also know that it will shoot video in 8K. That's, you know, twice the number of Ks than 4K. Double the Ks. We also know that it has some pretty awesome burst shooting specs. It'll do 12 frames per second with the mechanical shutter and 20 frames per second electronic shutter. That means it's going to be as fast as the Sony A9 with the electronic shutter, and actually I think that's as fast as the 1DX Mark III that Canon just released. So that's pretty darn fast, yo. We also know that it has a new CMOS sensor, not the kind of moss that grows, you know, on rocks and stuff near the sea. This is a CMOS sensor. And we know that it has to be at least 33 megapixels in order to get 8K video. So that means it's a high-resolution camera for stills as well. And we also know it has a new processor. Brand spanking new processor. That processor, it spanks in a new way. Brand spanking new. Spanking. And another exciting spec is the fact that it has an IBIS system, a stabilized sensor, whatever. I don't remember what, you know, Canon speak for stabilized sensor is, but we're going to call it IBIS. And apparently it's going to have between 7 and 8 stops or something crazy. It can work with the lens, so that's pretty cool. And we also know that it has 2 card slots, so that means it's professional, because you have to have 2 card slots, or else you're not professional. The camera that I'm shooting on right now, it only has 1. Psh, amateur camera. Stop recording me right now. And we also know that it's going to have some sort of cloud storage, you know, with it's got like 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi and cloud storage. I don't know if that means that, you know, it's going to be syncing through your phone and that sort of thing, but that means that, you know, one way or another, you're going to be able to send your pictures straight into the cloud as a backup while you shoot, which could be potentially awesome. If the system works well, that could be amazing. And I want one. And may the internet rejoice, there will be no touch bar. The touch bar from the EOS R, or EOS R, or however you want to call that. Anyway, from the R camera, no touch bar. It's gone. Goodbye. Goodbye touch bar, and good riddance. And we also know that we will have the capability of adding voice memos to the picture files, which is actually a really cool little trick that you can do, especially if you're doing, you know, a ton of shots. You can make a little, this is the good one, or, you know, man, that guy's hair is weird looking. You can say all kinds of things on your pictures, and you can use them, you know, as notes later, which is, it's cool. It's cool. And that's pretty much everything that we know for sure. Now, the specifics of any of those things are up in the air, so what we don't know is what frame rates the 8K video is going to be. Is it going to be just 24 frames per second, or will it be able to do 24 and 30 frames per second? What frame rates are we going to have in 4K? Are you going to have 4K 60? You know, it's rumored that it's going to be able to do 4K 60. What about, you know, HD 120 or 180 or, you know, 240? Who knows? Are we going to be able to do that? We don't know. We also have no idea what codecs are going to be available in the camera. Is it, we think that there's going to be the H.265, the HEVC, or the high efficiency one. That one, we think that's going to be in there. We don't know for sure. We don't know if we're going to have all eye, if it's going to be, we don't know. Probably going to be all eye, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Even though we're certain there's going to be at least 33 megapixels, we don't know the actual pixel count. I think that it's probably going to be about 45, and although we do know that it does have 2 card slots, we don't know if they're going to be SD cards or CF Express cards, or if one's going to be CF Express and the other one's going to be SD. We don't know that either. And we do know that there's going to be the Wi-Fi and it's going to have the cloud storage, but is it 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi? That's not official. We don't know that yet. That was rumored, but it's not official. I made it sound like it was official when I talked about it a minute ago, but I was wrong. It's not official. We don't know. We also don't know what battery this camera is going to be using. Will it be an improved battery? I hope it's an improved battery. Everyone likes improved batteries. Batteries that will last longer are better, because we build a better battery. Canon must build a better battery. Booyah. And of course, we have absolutely no official idea how much that this camera is going to cost. So that is everything that we know and everything that we don't know about the Canon R5. So what do I think about this, and what can we put together and figure out from the information that we do have and some of the rumors that might make a little bit of sense? So the ability to shoot in 8K sounds really cool. Like, yeah, I'm gonna shoot with all them Ks, yo. But the ability to just shoot in a good codec in 4K is probably gonna be way more useful. Canon actually released a video that shows a 360 view, a rendering of the camera, and looking at that, I didn't see any heat vents. There's no place for heat dissipation to come out like they did with the S1H that does 6K. So that makes me think that the 8K video that they have is either going to be only external, so that they're not doing the compression on the processor in the camera, or it's going to have a crazy short time limit so that, you know, you can only record 8K for, you know, a minute or 30 seconds, or I don't know. But now that I think about it, are there any external recorders that actually can record in 8K? I don't think there are. So I guess it would have to be internal. And while we're talking about heat in this camera, if you remember way back in the day when Sony first started doing full-frame mirrorless that did video, it would overheat super fast, and it took them years to figure out a way to, you know, dissipate that heat on their processors so that you could have longer period of time where you could record video before it would overheat. And I don't think that Canon fixed that in like one generation, like, psh, we got this. I don't think they did that, so it's probably going to have a time limit. I don't know if they're going to be doing any downsampling for the 4K. I think they probably will do a little bit of that, maybe from a 6K to a 4K. That might do a little bit of crop. We don't know that much. But in order to keep the heat down, they might just crop in a lot. I have no idea. And again, because heat is probably going to be a big problem when shooting video on this camera, that there's going to be an all-eye codec, one that's very lightly compressed, that's not very processor heavy inside the computer, so it won't generate as much heat. And that, even though the file size will be huge, because those massive file sizes, you might not have as much of a time limit on that because it won't be generating as much heat inside the camera, but we'll see. And like I was saying before about pricing, we don't know the price, but I have a feeling that based on how Canon has seemed to like position themselves price-wise in the market amongst their competitors, I have a feeling that this is going to run about $4,000, maybe a little bit under, like, you know, $3,999. You know how marketing goes, but I figure it's going to be around in that point. That would make it more or less in line with the other high megapixel cameras, but with that Canon premium price point. So Yeah. Now, Canon only announced the R5, but the R6 has already been rumored to be a smaller megapixel camera that will probably just do 4K. It will probably have most of the, stuff that's in the R5, just less megapixely, so it won't do the 8K. It'll probably only do 4K. It'll probably still have 2 card slots, all that kind of stuff. And that's probably going to be the more compelling camera. As long as the R6 has full frame 4K with dual pixel autofocus and has a burst shooting rate that is the same or maybe even slightly better than the R5, then that's going to be the camera that everyone's really going to jump on, especially because a slightly lower megapixel camera like that one will probably cost more like $2,500, and that would put it in direct competition with the A7 III and the Z6 and the S1 from Panasonic, those cameras. And I think that would make that people want to shoot on a full frame Canon. Everyone has been waiting for a full frame mirrorless Canon camera that can actually get the job done. And if they pull it off and it has 2 card slots and all those things, the R6 is probably going to be the really big winner for Canon. And I think they were smart for announcing the R5 first, getting everybody ready for it. And it has that 8K option, even if it's just for like 5 minutes or 2 minutes even if you can only shoot for 2 minutes in 8K, that the R5, that just blows everyone's mind, and it makes all the competitors panic. In fact, if Canon can deliver on what they have already just said for the R5, it's going to put them on even footing with Sony. And Sony, it took them a long time to get where they are, and they're the kings of mirrorless now. But if Canon, who is the king in general of all like DSLRs and cameras in general, now if they're king of mirrorless too, then that means everyone's going to have to step up their game. We're talking Panasonic, Fuji, Nikon, everyone's going to have to compete. Prices are going to get even more competitive, which is good for us consumery people, as well as, we're going to get better stuff because of this. I think this is going to be if they deliver, a disruptive camera. It's going to be pretty cool. That's everything that we know. That's everything that what we think might happen, and that's what I think it all means. But what do you think? Do you think it's going to be as disruptive as I think it is? Do you think anybody's going to care? Do you think it's a stupid thing? Do you think, 8K is huge and the file sizes are dumb and nobody's going to buy it and it's stupid? If that's what you think, or if you think anything, just tell me down in the comments below. I'd love to talk to you about it. We can discuss canoning. We can we can discuss it. If you like this video, do the thing where the thumb goes up. If you did not like this video, do the thing where the thumb goes down. And then, brace yourself, because you will be smashed by the Canon cripple hammer. And I know you know what the cripple hammer is because you're watching a video about cameras. So you know what it is. And if you want to see more videos like this one, or tutorials, or anything else that I may feel like making, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. You gotta ring it. Bing! And that's everything I got for you today, so go and take your camera, whatever camera it may be, take it out into the world and go create some awesomeness. Yeah.